Hello, and welcome to Character Class. Today, today I would like to talk to you guys about being on the same page. Now, this is a broad category of things. I've touched on it before, um, especially when talking about session zeros in a couple of my videos, but we're going to delve a little deeper into what it means to be on the same page and why that is helpful. Okay, so what does it mean to be on the same page? Well, it means that you, as either a DM or a player, communicate with your DM and the other players, or if you are the DM, with your players, that you are communicating and knowing what you all are expecting going into a game. Whether this is a one shot um, or whether this is a longer campaign, uh, having that communication, getting everybody to be on the same page is so important to avoiding any sorts of stress and anxiety or miscommunications because you all get on that same page early on. And it is also helpful to, somewhat regularly during the course of a longer campaign to check in with your players, to have your players check in with each other and with you so that you are still all on the same page. Because that is one of the most important things when it comes to playing a game, role playing. You need to you need to be you need to work together because role playing uh, in tabletop, getting the getting everyone together to tell a story, to play the game, to have fun. Um, this is a collaborative effort that everybody is involved in. It's not you, the DM, lording things over everybody and the players simply reacting, nor is it the players driving the story and you throwing obstacles in their way. It's not you as a DM or the group of players as an entity uh, at odds and fighting each other. It's not the players competing against each other to see who comes out on top, who gets the most kills, who gets the most loot, etc. This is not what role playing is. Now, there are elements of all of this, yes. Um, as a DM, you can absolutely challenge your players. You can even uh, try and set out to give the players a bad day or do a total party kill. But these are things that should be discussed ahead of time. These are things that all the players and you as a DM, if you are the DM, should be communicative about. You should know that this is what you want. This is what you all want out of it. It kind of really comes down to consent in a way. Now, getting on the same page, that can be a little more difficult because everybody wants different things. So, the best thing to do, it's something I am a huge fan of doing, a proponent for, is you get a session zero where you not only talk about the game you're going to play, you talk about what each of you is wanting from the game. Does one player want combat more than role playing? That's okay. You can make sure as a DM that there's going to be some combat in every session. Does do other players want role playing opportunities? You can make sure there's role playing opportunities. If most of the party is kind of meh on combat, but likes role playing, you can tailor your game to have more role playing than combat. Uh, it's simply a matter of making sure everybody knows what they want going in. And it is something that it is worthwhile to talk about, to get brought up. Um, and this also lines up with game masters, those who run the games. Because as a game master, as somebody who runs campaigns more often than not, I like doing certain things. I enjoy telling a certain type of story. I find combat to be very much kind of crunchy and bogs things down a lot. Um, Having combat be like streamlined and smooth is something that I've always been attempting to do to get it more streamlined so that combats can be quicker, snappier. And I prefer role playing. I prefer character development, watching player characters interact with each other and the world that I have created. Um, I'm a big fan of exploration when it comes to games because I like having players explore the world that I've created because I love world building. It is something that is near and dear to my heart. uh, Other players, like people that play the game, they may not like exploring. They may like dungeon crawls. They may like loot. They may like political intrigue or commerce. It is entirely possible you can have players that want to establish a business. And if all of the players are in on this, if everybody wants to get in on establishing a business uh, in a world, you can tailor the game to benefit this and to help them achieve their goals and have obstacles that are specific to running a business pop up. These are things that you can do, but you can't do that if you're not all on the same page. And that's where it is important. So important. And it smooths away everything. Like all the problems that you have, it can smooth them away. Not maybe not completely. There's always going to be issues with any group of people, um, unless you happen to get a group of people that get along very well and are able to work together and gel and know going in the social contract inherent in playing a game. Uh, if you can't do that, there's going to be problems. If you can, great. It is one of the most wonderful experiences to get a gaming group together that everyone kind of understands what's going to happen. Everyone has bought into the social contract, and it goes from there. It is a wonderful thing, but it's not always possible. But getting everybody on the same page can help that because everyone will know going in that there's going to be an attempt to ensure that everybody gets a little bit of what they want out of the game and that they have to be possibly a little patient. Some sessions in a longer campaign may not focus on your character so much. It may focus on another character for a bit because that's where the story is at this point. But your character is still important to the story as a whole, and there will be focus later on your character. This is one thing that I have brought up to the games that I run that I don't It's hard to have a focus be on every character, every session, all the time, because generally speaking, narratives don't work that broadly. They ebb and flow and focus on certain things sometimes before that focus moves. And I have a very narrative um, way of running the games, so naturally, this is how things flow for me. Perhaps other people may have different ways of doing it, but I try my best to let my players know that this is how I run games. These are the things I do. And as players in a game, this is also something you can do. You can let your GM know and your other players, like, this is my character. This is how I'm going to portray my character. These are more or less the sort of person that they are. That they might be a little standoffish, but they actually like want to be with these people, and so on and so forth. Um, and I know that lots of people like to play lone wolves. That can be done, but playing a lone wolf type character kind of it kind of goes against a collaborative effort, and unless you're careful in how you are doing it, lone wolf characters can be difficult. Uh, Something, just keep that in mind. But when it comes to uh, generally generally playing a PC in a party, you want to you want to have collaboration. You want them to be able to work with the other PCs. They are a member of a party, after all. They're supposed to work together. Um, so you kind of want to have your character with that type of personality, and being able to explain the type of character you are to your players, to your GM, can help, because then everybody understands what your character is like, and everybody understands what the DM is like in terms of running the game, so everybody knows what to expect. There's not a sudden surprise that could upset a player. Um, Safety tools are something that should be available to be used, but if possible, if you can manage it, running games where you don't need to use the tools, even though they're there, is preferable, because then everybody enjoys themselves. But having them is a must. Though we're not really talking about safety tools, but it's tangential to the conversation. So yeah, this is definitely the sort of thing I mean when it comes to being on the same page, and it's important. It makes for smoother games, uh, less time with the DM spent having to adjudicate on players that are arguing, and just overall makes for a better feel around the table with everybody involved. Because even though it's only a game and people should not get upset about things because it's just a game, um, that does not stop people from having emotions about things. And when you are role playing, you are inherently kind of putting a little bit of yourself in any character that you make and play. So when things go poorly, you can feel emotions. Um, you can be angry, upset, feel betrayed, etc., etc. When somebody else's character does something that it then affects your character. Um, if there's a moment of backstabbing from the assassin rogue who is doing it to further their own agenda, but have done something that is negatively affecting your character or the party, you can feel upset about that. And being on the same page may not mitigate that. Like, you may still know that this can happen and still feel the feelings when it does. But if everybody's on the same page and the players at least are like, sorry, this is what my character needs to do in order to uh, pursue their agenda at this moment, like, it is something that can be talked about, and those feelings can be processed, and it might be helpful to have everybody knowing this ahead of time, that yes, this character may do bad things. um, it may not stop the feelings, it may not stop a negative reaction, but it can explain why this negative reaction has come about, and may help prevent bad feelings in the long term. And should such things come to pass, you can also take 5-10 minutes to talk things out, players to players, to come up with a well, hello, Butcher. I have a I have a guest. Don't worry about it. Hey, buddy. Meow, meow, meow. Uh, but yes, you may be able to talk things out and actually come to an agreement. At least I think this can be the case, because this is this is what it means to be on the same page, and it's important. And it's something that I felt the need to talk and ramble a bit about. So I think I've got my point across. So yeah, that's going to be it for this episode of Character Class. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope I have helped in some way. Um, I hope you've enjoyed listening to me ramble on, uh, probably incoherently for some time. But yes, you all take care, stay safe, and until next time, keep rolling dice, keep role playing, keep doing what you need to do. And if you can, get on the same page with everybody else in your group. I'll see you next time.